The silence was the point. It was a thick, heavy blanket Ella had come to the old, out-of-the-way hotel to wrap herself in. The city's constant scream of sirens and traffic had worn her nerves to frayed wires. Here, in room 217, the only sound was the soft sigh of the ancient radiator and the distant creak of the floorboards settling into the mountain cold. She unpacked her single bag, the ritual feeling solemn in the quiet. A book, a change of clothes, her toothbrush. She placed them neatly on the dresser, savoring the simplicity. For the first time in months, she took a full breath. It was on her second night that the silence broke. She woke from a shallow sleep, her heart thumping for no reason she could name. The room was pitch black, the moon shrouded by clouds. She fumbled for the glass of water on her bedside table, and her fingers brushed against something that wasn't her glass. It was cold. Porcelain. With rough, stitched seams. She snatched her hand back, a cold dread slithering down her spine. Switching on the lamp, she blinked against the sudden light. And there he was. An old doll, propped neatly against the base of the lamp. He wore faded denim overalls over a striped sweater, his face a web of fine cracks beneath a mop of red hair. One hand was a molded mitten, the other, a set of crude, stitched fingers. His glassy blue eyes seemed to stare right through her. A child's toy. Left behind, perhaps. But a deep, primal part of her knew that was a lie. She had meticulously wiped every surface clean. That table had been empty when she'd gone to sleep. Her breath hitched. The room, once a sanctuary, now felt like a cage. The silence wasn't peaceful anymore, it was waiting. A whisper, so faint it could have been the wind outside her window. "Play with me." Ella froze, her blood turning to ice. She stared at the doll, its painted smile suddenly seeming cruel, a mockery of joy. "Who's there?" she whispered, her voice trembling. The only answer was the radiator's hiss. She squeezed her eyes shut. "You're tired. You're imagining things. The silence is playing tricks on you." She forced herself to lie down, pulling the covers over her head like a child, her back to the table. She counted her breaths, trying to slow her racing heart. 1, 2, 3. A creak. Not the floorboards. This was closer. It was the sound of a small, stiff joint moving. Her eyes flew open. She didn't want to turn. She had to turn. Slowly, painfully, she rolled over. The doll was gone. A wave of pure, undiluted terror washed over her. She scanned the room frantically, her eyes darting from the shadows under the bed to the dark mouth of the open closet. Nothing. Then she saw it. A tiny, dirty footprint on the white linen of her bedsheet, right beside her leg. It was smudged, as if something had climbed up. Another whisper, this one right by her ear. It was a raspy, guttural thing, full of malice. "I've been so lonely, Ella." She screamed and scrambled backward, falling off the bed in a tangle of sheets. She hit the floor hard, the impact knocking the air from her lungs. Gasping, she looked up. The doll was perched on the headboard now, looking down at her. Its head tilted at an impossible angle. In its stitched hand, it held a long, sharp shard of glass from the broken water glass she'd knocked over. Its painted lips didn't move, but the voice filled the room, a venomous promise. "Now we can play forever." It leaped. The last thing Ella saw was the cracked, smiling face flying toward her, and the glint of the shard in the lamplight. The last thing she heard was not her own scream, but a childish, gleeful laugh that echoed in the silent, waiting hotel room. The silence returned to room 217. But it was a different kind of silence now. It was the silence of a full belly. The silence of a promise kept. And on the bedside table, a new, old doll sat waiting, its blue eyes staring at the door, eager for the next lonely guest to arrive.